I got my fishing license last week, just like we always talked about. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the A-Side. I am your host, Riley, and today I have a review for you of the newest debut album by brand new pop star Olivia Rodrigo, Sour. Now, Sour is a very earnest and sad breakup album. It's pretty much the Glow Part 2 for basic white girls. Now, this is the only time you'll probably ever hear anybody compare Olivia Rodrigo to the microphones. But it's possible you might hear some Billie Eilish comparisons. I mean, they're both young teenage girls who kind of already had a foot in the door, kind of fame-wise. I mean, Billie Eilish's brother was a producer and her family was rich. Olivia Rodrigo was already part of Disney. They kind of both make like kind of sad girl music about like heartbreak and insecurities. But here's the big difference: Billie Eilish tries very hard to be edgy, whereas Olivia Rodrigo's music is just extremely, extremely genuine. She pours her heart out onto wax throughout the entirety of this album about her shitty ex-boyfriend that broke her heart, and it's just so genuine the entire time. You can tell her feelings are just 100% true, that she's not just making it up, and I think that's pretty great. This is an album you can tell is 100% real, no bullshit, and that she really felt this way, and she's just putting her thoughts on paper and her feelings on paper for the world to see. It almost reminds me of Pinkerton, while not being quite that honest. It's still emotionally very honest and very important to Olivia, and I feel like it was probably a very cathartic experience for her to make this album and get all these feelings out there. And a lot of people might point out this album being a little too teenagery in some places. I know a lot of older people don't really get the appeal of Olivia Rodrigo. And I'm just going to go off and talk about Driver's License first, because I think it sums up a lot of my feelings about this album and about the people who don't get it. Because Driver's License is a very teenagery song, and a lot of people are like, well, you know, how is this the love of your life? You're 17, it's not that big of a deal of a heartbreak. Well, you forget, yeah, it's the love of her life, so far. You know, she's only ever loved, like, one person at this point, and really doesn't know how to deal with the heartbreak. So I don't see why her age would make any of the sadness any less genuine or meaningful. If anything, it would make it even more meaningful, because at this stage in life, we have no fucking idea how to deal or cope with heartbreak. We've only had our hearts broken like once. And I think as a teenager, I find myself maybe relating to that more. Olivia Rodrigo turned 18 in February. I turn 18 next month. So we've gone through a lot of the same things, both emotionally and just through our childhoods growing up. You know, the internet kind of becoming such a big thing, us having social media kind of by the time we were in middle school, and that affecting us, especially her in a lot of places, because I feel like social media kind of affects a lot of girls around my age comparing themselves to someone. It's especially worse for Olivia after a heartbreak, and that's something we see here after she gets her heart broken. She sees, like, these girls and these people who are way better than her, and how she's not enough. And after she gets her heart broken, she really feels that way. And I feel like this album does such a great job of conveying these feelings of teenage heartbreak and teenage sadness, along with feelings that come with it, like jealousy and insecurity and hating yourself and wanting to be someone else and just not feeling good enough, especially when someone you love disregards you for someone better. And as I mentioned, this is just a very genuine album. You can tell in the lyrics and the vocals. And Olivia does such a good job of painting the picture of everything going on. The beauty of this album is definitely in its details. And details there are. She really describes everything. The way that she was with this boy who then, you know, started talking to this other girl during the relationship, and Olivia was a little jealous, a little, you know, that's kind of sus, bro, vote red. And then the minute they broke up, she started dating this girl, the same girl he was talking to while they were dating, and that really messed her up and really hurt her, because she really loved this guy. And you can really hear that in the lyrics, because she spends a lot of the album conveying that, but spends just as much time, probably more, conveying the way it made her feel. And she sets up, like on Deja Vu, she describes everything that went on between them and what their relationship was like. And kind of everything that was going on. Or on One Step Forward, Three Steps Back, she describes how sometimes, she was the love of his life, but other days, he acted like he hated her. And how that kind of messed with her and really made the heartbreak just so much worse. And when these big emotional moments happen, where she starts to talk about the way she feels, the picture is painted so much in depth that it really pays off, because you know exactly how she's feeling and why she's feeling this way. So it really brings out the emotion I feel. And also, even though it is so detailed, it becomes just so relatable throughout so much of this album. Now, keep all those things in mind as I continue talking about some of these tracks, because I don't want to sound like a broken record, just keep saying over and over again, she paints the picture so well, it's so relatable, perfectly captures what teenage heartbreak feels like. Okay, yeah, we get it. But, musically, some of these songs are a little unremarkable, but some of them are really good. For example, opener Brutal. After only hearing Driver's License, this really took me aback. I was very surprised at just how hard and heavy this song was. I mean, it hits hard. There are guitars, like drums, and her vocal performance is pretty aggressive. And I love the way she very casually speaks the chorus. God, it's brutal out here. It just has so much character to it. And this song is a banger. It bops hard. And I was not surprised. I was not expecting something this heavy off of this album, but I was very surprised. And you can tell that Olivia Rodrigo has a bit of more experimental edge and taste to her. She kind of wants to pursue it, and you can see her kind of messing with it just a little bit on certain tracks here. That she has interest in both rock and experimental music, rather than just the kind of Gen Z kind of sad girl pop she's doing. And I would like to see her kind of expand on that more, because I think those are a lot of the best moments on this album. Some of these lyrics hit me very hard, like, I'm so insecure, I think that I'll die before I even drink, which is like, once again, being a teenager, feeling that insecurity and being like, Lord, am I even going to be able to stay sane long enough that I'm going to be able to legally drink? And the one that really hit me, and I'm so sick of 17, where's my fucking teenage dream? If someone tells me one more time, enjoy your youth, I'm gonna cry. That just is so relatable to me, and I'm sure a lot of teenagers, because as I mentioned earlier, a lot of people don't get that you can be sad when you're a teenager, and a lot of times you're gonna be sad when you're a teenager. A schooling system that sucks the life out of you, social media that makes you depressed and makes you compare yourself to everyone else, and makes you feel so inferior, and not to mention when you're a teenager, you have so many hormones moving around that your emotions are all out of whack all the time. And it's so hard to be happy as a teenager, especially when you're betrayed by a person you love so much and get your heart broken. It just makes everything way worse, and I think that lyric really sums up a lot of it. But the way this song is so hard and brutal, brutal. It's not like fucking Cannibal Corpse, but brutal for what I was expecting an Olivia Rodrigo album to be after I heard Driver's License. I was very impressed by this opening track. Traitor is one of those songs that kind of sets up the concept and the relationship that happened here. It talks about how they dated, and while they dated, he was talking to this other girl, and the second they broke up, he went to the other girl almost immediately, within 2 weeks, she says, and says that, yeah, you didn't cheat on me, but you still betrayed me, you still backstabbed me, you broke my heart, and you lied to me, and now I don't even matter to you, because you have someone that I and you both perceive as being better. And the song, not as notable musically, but does a good job to set up the concept, and then it hits you with Driver's License right afterward, which is a pretty good sequencing, I'm not gonna lie. This is a song we all know, we've all heard. It's definitely been overplayed, it's been all over TikTok, but God, it's still really beautiful. I still really love Driver's License for everything it is. It's very minimal, and I really respect that it's such a minimalist song. Really, it's just some hand claps and like 2 piano notes for a majority of the song. The focus is really on the lyrics here, and I think the lyrics are pretty amazing, because it focuses on the idea, around this one singular idea, is that Olivia just got her driver's license, and it's something she used to talk about with her ex-boyfriend all the time. He was so excited for her to get her license so she can come drive up to his house and come see her, and they'll be able to hang out even more often, and she can drive and take him places, And now she's at this big milestone in her life, and he's gone. And she feels so alone. And she could only really drive around by herself and reflect on those feelings of hurt, and compare herself to his new girl and just be sad. I mean, the lyric, "You're probably with that blonde girl who always made me doubt. She's so much older than me and everything I'm so insecure about." And you can talk all you want. Oh, she was only 17. That's not real heartbreak. She's acting like it's the love of her life, yada, yada, yada. But it really is. And you can't tell me you listen to the song and don't hear that. On this chorus, when she sings, and I know that we weren't perfect, but I've never felt this way for no one, and I just can't imagine how you could be so okay when I'm gone. The way she belts that, you can feel in her timbre, in her voice, every bit of her soul and emotion is in that. She really feels that way, and it's so beautifully heartbreaking and so convincing. I shouldn't even say convincing, because it doesn't need to convince me. I know it's genuine. It's just one of those... I mean, her voice sounds amazing. She can really belt those notes, but you can just tell in the emotion. And if you haven't heard the song, listen to it, because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can tell this hurt her, and this has had a very big impact on her and her life and who she is and her mental state, because she sings that with all her heart so despondently and desperately. You can tell it means the world to her. I do have some criticism of the song, though. The bridge, at least in the melodies, is very cliched and sounds kind of cheesy. But besides that, I really enjoy Driver's License. It was one of my favorite songs earlier this year, and I think it deserves all the success as it gets, and I'm glad it helped Olivia become so big, because I think she is very talented. We already discussed One Step Forward, Three Steps Back, so I'm going to skip over to Deja Vu, which is it is my favorite song on the album. This song's pretty amazing. It, once again, paints a beautiful picture, well, maybe not so beautiful, but paints a very in-depth picture of this relationship. It starts off so dreamlike and soft as she reminisces about the things that she used to do with this boy, car rides to Malibu, strawberry ice cream, one spoon for two, trading jackets, laughing, having fun. And it's very soft and very dreamy with these nice pianos, and her voice sounds really nice and it's soft. But all of a sudden the beat drops and you get these drums and then this amazing sounding swirling electronics. And it's just a moment of pure bliss. I think that sounds amazing there. Easily my favorite moment on the album. And I'm partly shocked the song did as well as it did on the charts, because these electronics are very experimental sounding. It's not something you'd hear in a typical pop song, but they sound just so amazing, especially backed by those drums. That moment is just elevates me. I think it's pretty amazing. And it's also a very sad song, because it starts out with her kind of reminiscing about, these are the things I used to do with you, I loved you so much. But then it's, oh, you're with this new girl and you're doing all the same things and showing her things I showed you, and did I even mean anything to you? Was I just another one in a long line of girls? What was I ever anything? And she starts to question herself and question the relationship, and once again get insecure about all the things that have happened. And it's got a very catchy, big chorus, and I like the chorus a lot. I just really love this song, pretty much all the way through. Good For You is another great song, once again showing that Olivia wants to kind of go in other directions, because this is a pop-punk banger, and lyrically this thing is so venomous. She tears her ex-boyfriend apart, limb by limb. I mean, with the last couple of songs, I'd be embarrassed to be him, but with this song, I would just be sad to be him, because she destroys him. She lets all her sadness and anger out, and just spits venom the entire time on the song, and I think it's pretty fucking amazing. Enough For You, once again, is one of those songs that it's a little musically, it's one of the slow ballads on the song, but it's not as musically notable as Driver's License is, or some of the other tracks on here. I would say maybe one of the more so, though, than some of the ones later on this album, but it focuses on the fact that all she ever wanted was to be enough for this guy, that she tried so hard to be like the girls before her, and be enough for him and make him happy, but in the end it didn't really matter, and that he didn't really care about her, and he was probably only after her because she was just her type. and that really all she ever wanted was to be good enough, and that didn't happen. I don't have much to say about the rest of this album, except for the track Jealousy, Jealousy, which I think is very good. It talks about social media, and how she, after this heartbreak and the way she feels, she really is down on herself, and she's so insecure, and she's comparing herself to this new girl, and like, what's wrong with me, I'm not good enough. And then she goes on social media and sees all these other girls and all these other people with perfect lives and, perfect boyfriends who are so beautiful, going to the beach, doing all these cool things. And she just digs herself in the hole of insecurities and sadness deeper and deeper and deeper, as she'll never be as good as these people she perceives to be perfect, no matter what she does. And it's just that overwhelming feeling of going on social media and just feeling like you're not good enough and no one's ever going to love you for you. And that's pretty sad, but I think, once again, she does a very good job of painting this picture. And the bridge of the song, oh my, the bridge of the song is great. Once again, showing she has this experimental edge. She's shouting the lyrics. These really dissonant pianos come in. It's just a very experimental moment, but I think it sounds amazing. It's one of the highlights of the album for me. So overall, I think Sour is a really good debut pop album that has your more kind of basic, sad, girl pop moments that I still think are really good, but also has some other kind of rock-leaning and experimental moments that really shine on this album, and I think I really want Olivia to kind of pan it out a little more, because I think she could really do something, especially with the way her lyrics are so good at describing the details and the feelings and the entire situation. I feel like you get such a vivid image of everything that's gone on, from the point like the relationship started to now. I feel like I have such a vivid image of this relationship of two people I've never even met before, and I think that's a pretty amazing feat for someone to write, especially at the age of 17 when she wrote most of this album. So I do think it's very impressive, and I think Olivia Rodrigo has a lot of talent, and I'm excited to see what she does, and I will definitely be watching her career very closely. Overall, I'm feeling like a 7 out of 10 on this album. Pretty good. I really enjoyed it. One of the better albums I've heard this year, honestly. So, yeah, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Probably in the part 2 of the living room reaction.